from there. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us. We are presenting today. I have Ingrid Bayer, Liz Parker, Kathie Thomas, and Rosie Shilo here, along with myself, who are the industry representatives for quite a few, sorry, I should have actually rehearsed this one, for quite a few of the networks around Australia at the moment. They are the heads. Over all of us, we make up over 75 years of experience between us. I can't believe it's that many years experience. And from that, we thought today that we'd put together a little bit of a presentation each to help you guys through COVID-19 and how to see your way through, how to keep positive, how to remain positive, and where you can go for some answers. And we will also throw up the question answers as well for after the presentations to see you know, where we can help you and what questions that you have and how we can answer those for you. So I'm going to open up the board. Who would like to start with presentation first?
I'm quite happy to.
Okay, right. Okay. Thanks, Kathie. Take it on board. So Kathie is the director of VA Directory. I've actually known Kathie for many, many years. I think since I started about 10 years ago as well. Yeah. So Kathie, I'll leave that to you. Take it away and just let me know when you're ready.
Great, thanks Susan. I've actually prepared something, so I'm going to be reading it off to you. And it's about a book that I've been recently reading. I'll put this in front of me, called Peaks and Valleys. And it's by Spencer Johnson. So, sorry, I've got a background here with me. There we are, Peaks and Valleys by Spencer Johnson. And it's just, I'll explain as I read it out to you how I came across this book and what's happening currently for me at the moment. Yesterday, I decided to tidy up my office bookshelves and throw out old files and papers, resort the books I have and look through ones I haven't yet fully read. One of those books is by Spencer Johnson, and it's called Peaks and Valleys. And what a perfect title for what's going on around the world right now. Some businesses are experiencing peak times because of what's happened, but many others are in valleys right now. He quotes Proust as saying, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeing new landscapes, but in having new eyes." And this is something we need to be doing today. Peaks are moments when you appreciate what you have, and valleys are moments when you long for what is missing. You cannot always control external events, but you can control your personal peaks and valleys by what you believe and what you do. The path out of the valley appears when you choose to see things differently. As VAs, we have transferable skills, and we really can work with any type of business for the most part, in any time zone and in any currency. While the media has made it seem like the entire world is on the brink of complete disaster, that's not the reality with all businesses. Most businesses that were already working online, like us, can pretty much continue on as we always have. This puts us in a fairly strong position. We haven't had to uproot from business premises somewhere else to set up at home. Working at home is not strange to us, it's a normal activity, and we're already used to working remotely and productively, even if there are family members at home. We became VAs because of the abilities we have and because we are organised. Employees work for one company, but we're fortunate because we have several clients, not just one boss. While some may go quiet during this period, others will still have work to be done. This is why it's so important we never put all our eggs in one basket. We should always have a mix of clients. And if you find the specific niche you're working in is affected, such as the events industry, for example, your skills can still be used in other industries. You just need to change your focus. In doing so, this will make your client base a wider mix for the future. One of my VAs mentioned the other day, she's flat out. She works in the medical transcription field, and that industry is flat chat busy at the moment. I'm sure any VAs working in this field right now are finding the same. And if that's you, don't forget there is a whole community of VAs you can reach out to for backup support if you need it. All VAs should be marketing online, but if you're not, now is the time to start. So look into what you're doing and where. Most of you will have clients that won't go out of business. Some may close their office for a while or cut down their hours, but most will remain in business and you can help them with this. Perhaps show them how to do more online, how to be more reachable, and how to use online tools such as Zoom, Asana, Trello, Slack, Dropbox, Skype, and so on. Now's the time for you to reach out and offer help to your existing client base and to others too. Just last night, my local Rotary Club had its very first meeting online via Zoom. This was a scary thing for many of the members as they are in the older age group and not used to these technologies. But some did attend and they enjoyed it and will now share with the others to come along next week. We also discovered that we could have speakers much further afield, simply because they could speak to us from their own home. Suddenly the possibilities have just grown for our club because we've taken it online. Your clients may find the same. Perhaps also help your clients to set up a Facebook group, move into online selling, help them to contact their own client base to see if your client can help their clients further. Show them how to hold online events, classes and tutorials. I personally feel that many business owners are in shock right now, and when they resurface from that, things will get busy again, especially if the area you work with right now has quietened down. Reach out and see how you can help. You may just find a whole lot of new possibilities that hadn't been considered before, simply because of looking at things in a different way. That's it from me.
Well said, Kathie.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was excellent, Kathie. Does anybody have any questions from that at all? Feel free to use the chat or the question and answer comment here. We've still got more people coming on live. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. I know it's a very big time in the industry at the moment.
Thank you. I can see Ros said that she's read Who Moved the Cheese, and Spencer Johnson also wrote that book as well. Great book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, and this one, Peaks and Valleys, I had it sitting up in the bookcase. Goodness knows how long it's been there. I think a client from years ago gave it to me and I pulled it out and I thought, oh, I really just need to read this right now. It's a great book. I'm halfway through it already.
That's excellent. All right. So no extra questions just yet, but who would like to go next?
Well, can I talk a little bit about marketing?
Thanks, Liz.
It seems to be the question that I'm most getting asked about how to change our marketing. You know, what should we do? You know, which industries are going to be quiet? Which industries are going to hire VAs? I want to get you in the right mindset to think about the fact that you are a VA and that you're in it for the long haul. It's not a 2-minute wonder. And your marketing has to be targeted. But that doesn't mean that your marketing can't be expanded. So, for example, say you support car mechanics, right? Car mechanics, yes, their businesses will get slower, but they'll still repair cars. Everybody needs their car repaired. We're still traveling in our cars and we need some sort of, yes, it's less, but there's still some business there. And you do things like appointments, make the appointments and do the invoicing. Now let's look at how you transfer those skills. Kathie's right, you can transfer, every skill that you have can be transferred, but you need to match it with your marketing. Because if you go out and try and cast that net as wide as possible and not go deep into your marketing, then you'll be part of the herd. You won't stand out. No one will hire you because it's too busy out there and it's going to get busier and busier. But what you can do is identify a market who will still be operating during a recession. Now I'm talking not over the next 2 weeks, not talking over the next 4 weeks, not only that, but once we're over this crisis, there's going to be a recession. There has to be. Now, what you have to do now is plan to operate your business during that recession. Now, we know that the health industry is going to, it's going to be very busy. There's lots of niches there that you can target. But also, what about the cleaning industry that's related to the tradie that you're now offering? Most big businesses who've closed their offices won't let their staff back until that office is cleaned from top to bottom. There's going to be a high demand for this sector of the market. And what you can do, and if they've let people go beforehand because they've had to keep them at home for a couple of weeks, then they're short-staffed as well. So what they can do is the mundane stuff, the admin stuff, the liaison stuff, the stuff that VAs are really good at. So I want you to think about not what you do now, but how you can expand that. So when you market to those businesses, be selective. You've got to target that business. You've got to mean something to them. They've got to understand that you can be of benefit to them, and you reach out to them. It's all about proactive marketing, not waiting until someone posts a message on Facebook saying, I need a VA, because that is a race to the bottom. No one wins that race. If you start cutting fees, someone next door will cut it further and further and further. And you'll end up being so desperate. Hold fast and believe in the value that you can offer to your clients. Don't get into that race to the bottom. Now, when I'm talking about new clients in that situation, but now I'm going to talk about your existing clients, and think about the relationship that you have with your existing client. They're not going to get rid of you unless they absolutely have to. If you reduce your prices or make some concessions on pricing or work for free, it will only delay the inevitable. So you need to make that business decision yourself based on your relationship with your existing clients. You may add value instead of reducing wages. You may say that over the next, the COVID-19 virus, I'm going to charge 80% of my fee. That's what I want to do to add to the economy, to help other businesses. And that's purely your business decision. But what you have to do, and you've got a responsibility to do this to the wider Australian community, is keep your business profitable. Because as long as you can keep your business profitable, you're not adding to the burden on the taxpayers and on everything else. So by acting responsibly, you're looking after your business. And I really believe that 100%. And there are a list of industries, and I know that the networks will work together and we'll start putting ideas together for you guys so that you can target market. Don't go the wide net. Your marketing needs to be 1 kilometre deep and 1 centimetre wide, not 1 kilometre wide and 1 centimetre deep. You need to understand your market. You need to be in the game. And to be in the game, there's 3 things you want to do. You need to act. Don't sit and despair, because you've got to think about the future. Not today, not in 2 weeks' time, but the future of your business. And the only way that you can help the future is by acting. The second thing you can do is barter. Work together, barter services. Speak to your clients and say, you offer financial services. I really need help with my budgeting at the moment. How about we do a quid pro quo? Barter with other VAs. This is a perfect time to up your website, up the ante with your social, up the ante with your content. Get someone to write an article for you, and in return, you do a social media post or their admin or their books for them. It's a whole range of things that we can do. So the first one is act. Don't sit in your hands and wait for it to be over. The second one is barter, okay? Don't have to have money for that, right? But you can end up with a much highly valued service overall. And the third one is collaborate. And when I mean collaborate, I mean look at the people who share your market. Contact them. Connect with them. Connect with them and come up with ideas on how you can help your market get to the other end of this crisis. Talk to others in the same boat. Collaborate with other VAs and join forces to offer a one-stop service. Someone might do bookkeeping, someone else might do, anything, but you've got the idea, you collaborate together. And the other thing that I'm going to throw in, and I'm sorry if I'm going a bit long, Hannah, I'm going a bit long. Sorry, once it gets started, is that volunteer, because your mental health is really important at the moment. And when you volunteer, you're looking at the greater good. And you've got AAVIP, the association, who need you. The industry needs you. They can apply for grants. They can apply for concessions on your behalf, and then they can distribute it to the people who are most in need. So by volunteering an hour a week or one activity to the association, you're actually lifting the whole industry and you're lifting the whole economy. That's my bit.
Shall I go next? Because you've just stole everything that I actually had on my list. I've got a few more.
Good. I'm sure you've got plenty.
But I'm going to one up you. I've actually done a PowerPoint. So
Oh,
can I share screen, Susan? Yep. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So cover slide.
Hi,
easy,
sorry guys. I was just going to say that was awesome, Liz. But Ingrid, before you start, I was just going to say to everybody, if in your chat there, just change it to all panelists and attendees. At the moment, we've got some great comments coming through, but they're only going to the panelists. And I'd really love your comments to be seen by everybody.
Cool. All right.
Susan, are you able to make it so that the attendees can see who else is attending? Because I think that kind of gives them more of a feeling that they're, you know, with each other. This is the whole vibe of this, is to feel that we're all coming together.
Okay, question. How do I do that in Zoom?
No idea. I don't know if anyone else has
tried.
Once we've swapped to all panelists and attendees, as people make comments anyway, we can see all their names and everybody else can too.
So you need everyone to make a comment.
Yeah, so you just need to make a comment in the, so all panelists and attendees, if you just change it to your comments to all panelists and attendees, everybody will be able to see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
All right, sorry, take it away, Ingrid. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so my tips for surviving COVID-19. So, where is it? Okay, so my first tip is reassess your business. So take the time right now to look at what services are you providing, and what could you provide, and think about very much in the vein of what Liz and Kathie were talking about. And I think it's really obvious that we're all very much on the same page. It's, what are the services that are important right now? So I had a conversation with someone. So definitely medical. I've heard lots of people talking about how busy and run off their feet they are with medical. Also the transport industry. So regardless, the wheels still need to keep rolling. We still need to have our transportation because even though borders are shut, transportation is allowed to continue to keep the country running. And what we're finding is, who I had a call with today, who was telling me about she was doing some logistics work with a transportation company, and when they announced that these restaurants and cafes had to have only takeaway service, guess what happened? All of a sudden there was bulk orders for takeaway cups and takeaway bits and bobs, and so she said things are just really zooming up quickly. So in those industries, and I'm sure there's more, and like Liz mentioned, cleaning, I hadn't even thought about that. But there are definitely industries that are going to keep, maybe growing, I don't know, but they'll certainly keep going. Think about what training or upskilling you can do right now, like really take advantage of this. If you're slow, use the time proactively. Don't, as was mentioned, don't sit back and twiddle your thumbs and wait for emails to drop into your inbox. Start being proactive right now and use the time as best as you can, while looking at and reassessing what is it in the future that I can see sort of happening. So think about things like online learning. Look, that's growing exponentially, and it was anyway, but I think, you know, learn those different platforms. Think about adding that to your suite of skills. Get really good at automations, you know, think about areas that you haven't thought about in the past. Communicate with your clients, maybe renegotiate. And in that question about should I drop my rates, well, I don't agree with that. I think renegotiating is maybe the way to go, and like adding value, which is exactly what Liz said. I think, you know, have an agreement with your client that includes adding value, or maybe giving them a little bit more over what you would normally give them. Consider a barter arrangement if it is appropriate. So, you know, that contra deal. I did have someone today and we had a chat, and I said to her, you know, like, what would you like to do? And she said to me, you know, I can help you with this, and can you help me with that? And, you know, I'm so happy to do that sort of stuff with people, because it's going to add value to me as well right now. So think about that. Be open to that. Have ears open to that, because it can happen without you even realising it. Keep your mindset positive. Oh my God, like I have now banned TV during the day. Like there is no TV watching in this house at all. I found that I was in this spiraling downward cycle of negativity and fear, like fear. That's basically what's happening in the media. If you watch it, it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Same, same, same. Don't watch the news 24/7. Yes, we do need to keep on top of what's happening. There's plenty, I get plenty of announcements on this thing. But if you have to, watch it at night and, you know, keep it to the news hour and then switch it off. Find something positive. The only person who can impact your mindset is you. And I think that's really important. Do something for yourself daily in that same vein of keeping your mindset positive. You're a business owner. You're allowed to do something for yourself. If it's even just going out for a walk, step out on the grass like I do, go on barefoot walk in the backyard. Kathie's pointing to her background. Yeah, get out in nature. You know, that's the best thing you can do to clear your head. Like, it's so positive. Even without this COVID stuff, we need to actually be doing that anyway for ourselves. In VA Institute, we implemented a posse of 3. So support your colleagues, set something up between 3 of you maybe, or even 4 if you want to. You can have a small group and support each other. And I know we do that regularly in our team. We get online, we make sure everyone's okay and support each other as much as possible. Be generous. So be generous with your networks, be generous with the groups that you're part of, add value. That's a rule of networking anyway, but even more so now, add value. People are going to notice that you add value, and honestly, pay it forward. It's a universal law. It will come back to you. And the last thing on my list is offer support to networks. Like, for example, my business women's network in our area. I sent an email to the person who runs that and said, you know, would you like me to help you set up to do online meetups? Because, you know, obviously we can't meet in person, and we had an event set up for next week, which is cancelled. So offer support to your networks. Think about what do they need, and, you know, be the one who steps forward. And if there's no one doing it, you do it. You know, you be the one who can do it. So yeah, that's my 2 cents worth for the day.
Can I just say, totally agree with that, Ingrid. That was really good. And with you, that last thing that you pointed out there, because my Rotary Club was on Zoom last night, one of the members has emailed another organisation today and CC'd me saying, this is what you need to be doing, because they were trying to work out how they were going to have their meetings. And Kathie can show you how to do it all. So I'm now going to get exposure to another group of people I've never met before. Yeah. Simply because I've put my own Rotary Club onto Zoom. So we just don't know what opportunities are out there and who we're going to be connecting with as a result of helping someone.
Totally true. Yeah.
Okay, thanks Ingrid, that was awesome. We've had a couple of questions about free training coming up, or cheap training that's coming up. And look, we are actually putting together a list of actually behind the scene, put a big list ahead, and we are actually doing that. We've also got the AAVIP online conference coming up that we're going to make free for all members as well, including the AVAA members that have come across with the merger. So these are the things that we're actually doing at the moment. We're also doing the accreditation free for all members at the moment as well. So if you want to get your business accredited, that's really another good option. But in the meantime, I will pass this over to Rosie. Rosie?
Yeah. Was that the end of the sentence? It was like, Rosie.
I know, Rosie.
Ba-da-boom. Yeah. Hey everyone, for those of you who can't see, we've got 53 people in this webinar, which I think is really, really lovely. So well done to everyone for jumping on board, and thank you, Susan, for organising this. It's, you know, there's a lot of people who obviously can't jump on, and we'll have a recording available to them. So it's a really great way for everyone to come together from the different networks, which is really, really cool. I had just a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. The first one being, and it's quite funny because my kid right now has chosen this time, like we've been on here now for 29 minutes. Go away now. Thank you. I love you. So if your kids are now home with you because you're in Victoria and they've forced you to, or because you've chosen to have them at home and this is happening to you, my first piece of advice is to cut yourself some slack, okay? Give yourself a break, get some earmuffs if you need to, but dead set, don't feel like you have to be everything to everyone. There is another human in this house who will deal with that screaming and hopefully carry the screaming pile a little bit further away. Yeah, I think that's happening. Okay, cool. So even when they're 24, they still do this, Karen. That's hilarious. Oh. Yeah, husbands, yeah, everybody's home. So move her further away, please. So you can be professional while this COVID is happening. No, so really is to cut yourself some slack. I know there's a lot of things that you can be doing, you know, tap into some training, communicate with people around you, the businesses around you that are feeling really, really uncomfortable with the idea of working online. But first, and I'll touch on that in just a sec, but first and foremost, please look after yourselves, because emotionally, this is a massive roller coaster. And I don't know about you, but I've had some days where I've just felt like crying and have cried all day. And then other days where I'm like, no, I feel okay today. And you've just kind of got to roll with it. So yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself. It doesn't all have to happen today. Okay. Oh, Fern, I love that attitude. So Fern said, my son's lost his job, but thinks this is a great time to get more proficient on his gaming. I think I might decide to get more proficient on my hot chocolate drinking, couch surfing. It's, you know, something I've been neglecting for at least a few days, so I've got to get back onto that. But yeah, so really, really looking out for each other. And on that same, like for yourselves, on the same kind of vein, one of the things that's kind of really been playing on my mind at the moment is that because of the way we're being isolated now, I might have those two kids there that were like hovering at the door like vultures, but there are other people who don't have the capacity to say, hey kids, move away, because their kids have, you know, cognitive issues, or they might have physical disabilities and things like that, and they need way, way, way more directive and care than I have to worry about. And I'm really conscious that those people who would normally be tapping into support so that they can get a few hours of work done probably aren't going to be able to access that. So if you fit that criteria, I'm not sure what the solution is apart from saying, please reach out if that's you and you need to talk, because I just think that would be, you know, I count my blessings. We've got some massive stuff going on here in this house that doesn't even involve the virus, but we can, you know, we can deal with that. Other people have got other things that are just massive, and it's just been thrown on them, and you've got to reach out, and you've got to, yeah, or they're attached to your boobs 24/7. Hopefully, yeah, at least sort of not 24 years old. And, oh, that's not right. And there's just these conversations. I really need to pick when I look over there. But no, just understanding that each other, you know, we do have more than what the government is telling us are the issues. We have personal issues. So please don't feel afraid of reaching out and saying to people, you know, this for me, this particular bit sucks more because blah, blah, blah. And I need help because of that. Yeah, everyone's going through crap, doesn't make yours any easier. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing was, I don't know how many people on here are looking to become virtual assistants. I know that in the VA training group thingy that some of us will be participating in next week, there's a lot jumping on. And I want to be really clear that this is not all right, I'm going to pivot, create a new business, and that's where the revenue is going to be coming in. The people that are running VA businesses are losing clients because their clients are losing clients. It's not because their clients want to let them go. It's because they're not getting the money in, and either they're panicking or they just can't see how it's going to work. So if you're new to the industry, please don't think that this is going to be a massive lifeline. I really cannot see that right now that's going to be a really big solution for you. But it is a great time to start setting things up for the future and preparing yourself for, you know, for a great business, because it is an awesome industry to work in. And for those of you who are running those businesses, like the other ladies have been saying, communicate with your clients where possible. Ask them what their needs are and whether you can break things down into, you know, little chunky size pieces instead of the, you know, the whole bunch of things that you were doing previously. And just see whether you can ease back rather than cut off completely wherever possible. Yeah, Kathie, that's right. Now, and learn. Like, I've been signing up to different groups, training, and that please also remember that we do need to support each other and not just look for free stuff. It's great that there's free stuff out there, but you're not free, I'm not free. We all need to feed our families. So where we can keep money within the small businesses, we will help with that economy. So please, please look at not just looking for free options. Oh, Fern, so important to have a diverse client list. I have 4 who dropped my hours to 0 for now. Yeah, and that must be so stressful. And it you know, once this lifts, those speakers can get out there and they can start again. But for now, you know, you'll be feeling that stress. So we need to connect with each other. Embrace how comfortable you feel with the online world. You probably completely take for granted how easy it is to jump into this Skype call. We've seen people in the media recently who really don't get how this works. And, you all know what I'm talking about, toilet lady, like, who just don't understand. We've got people who, like Kathie was talking about, like, how do I connect online? And it's such a comfortable thing for us. And so you have less pain around that. Other people have more pain around that. So you can support them with that, okay? Really appreciate the comfort that you feel. And then, yeah, finally, just reach out and connect, but also disconnect where possible. Get into the garden. You know, you don't have to hang out with the kids to disconnect, okay? Because that's not really disconnecting. This is my secret little thing to you. People will say it is, but it's not. So lock doors and stuff just to get away, because it is overwhelmed city at the moment. So that's my advice.
Thanks, Rosie. Great advice.
All over the shop, but yeah.
No, I love it. That's perfect. But that's what we are at the moment. We're all over the shop. There's no certainty at all. So we are going from one thing to another and we're very reactive. We're not proactive at all. And yeah, so look, I'll jump into my little prezi, which is basically going to sum up everybody else's that everybody's covered here anyway. But look, a couple of things that I've come across recently is to be proactive. Have a look at your business plan and adjust it for 2020. You know, find some other opportunities, whether it's webinars, speaking, volunteering, doing some writing, adding some content to your website. Doesn't necessarily have to be paid work. Paid work's awesome, obviously, because that's the bottom line, but if these are the things that are going to set you up for your future. So it's going to future-proof your business, and you're going to be prepared for AC after COVID, right? So we've got BC and then we've got AC. So we really need to be looking towards AC. A couple of other things, like, as I've said, we're the work from home experts. If anybody knows how to do this, it's us. We've been doing this for a long time. So, you know, put some tips out to your clients. Tell them how to work from home. There's different things that they need set up. How are they going to be managing their phones when they close their office? Who's going to be checking their emails? You know, who's going to be doing the basic stuff for them? Follow up on your clients and see how they're doing, and your previous clients too, because, you know, we're all in this together. Like, if anybody is struggling, they're struggling at the moment. And it's even to say, are you okay? Because the fallout from this, even though we're going to go, you know, we've got this happening and this economic crisis happening, the fallout from this is the suicide rates are going to be a hell of a lot bigger than the actual death rates from COVID-19. So keeping an eye out on your clients and looking after, you know, just phoning a friend saying, are you okay? I heard you lost your job. Are you doing all right? Is there anything that I can do? It's those things that are really going to help in this time. And a couple more is, what have you been holding off doing in your business? Have you been holding off changing up your website? Have you been holding off adding that lead magnet, that online course, that product, that package, that new service? Obviously, it's, you know, may or may not be the right time to sell it at the moment, but if you've got it ready to go, it's going to be there to implement once all of this passes and once you're done. And the last thing was the professional development. As I said, we're putting together a bit of a list of those key things at the moment of where you can go. But don't forget to look at your networks. Like, these are the ladies, you know, Ingrid, Liz, Kathie and Rosie. They've got these courses there ready to go. They're ready to help you guys. And if you've got their cash flow there to do it, definitely go ahead and do it, because if anybody needs support at you at the moment, it's you guys. We've got, as I said, 53 people on this. You guys are all looking for support during this time. So reach out and virtual hug these ladies, because these are the ones that you essentially need to help you. And also, like, you know, Via, don't forget that this is going to pass. You know, in the overall scheme of things, at the moment, there's no certainty of where this is happening, but it's going to pass. And we need to be ready for that on the other side, AC, after Corona. We need to be ready for that, to kick our businesses off and be better and ready to roll after this is all done. And you know, the last thing is the leaders in the world really innovate at these times, and they create those proactive opportunities. So it's up to you guys to find those. And that's me. So I'm going to hand it over to some questions and answers. And we've had quite a few questions come through, and I think a lot of them we kind of have answered, but I'm going to really put it out there to the ladies to sort of answer and go with that. One of the first questions that I did get was, should I halve my prices to help with this COVID-19? So who would like to take that one on? Ingrid, I'm loving your hat there.
I think this was already mentioned before when Liz was talking. I think possibly Ingrid might have mentioned it as well. But yeah, just to confirm, don't drop your prices or don't halve your prices. Add value. Have a chat to your clients. Oh, I love Rosie's glasses and Ingrid's hat. Yeah, if the client is struggling, find out what they can afford to pay, and then work out what you can do for what they can afford to pay. Or look at bartering, as Liz was mentioning. I think it was Liz that was mentioning about bartering, or maybe it was Ingrid. But yeah, bartering is another way to go as well. You could be doing something for someone and they can be doing something in return for you. I used to belong to a company called Bartercard years ago, and used to work through Bartercard quite often, picked up a lot of clients that way. And it was a great way of being able to get printing done before clients were paying me for the printing that I was getting done for them. different things like that. So, bartering's another great way too, but I definitely would not encourage dropping your prices or halving your rates at all.
Yep, agreed. And I think Liz was mentioning about niching down. So do I niche down or become a jack of all trades? Yeah, everyone's saying, yeah, Rosie, take it away.
Yeah, there's nothing better than marketing to everybody in the world. It is the most inefficient marketing strategy ever. And honestly, like I always say to people when I'm training them, have you ever been into one of those takeaway fish and chip shops where they offer Chinese food as well as fish and chips and some lasagna and stuff like that? And you kind of look at it and go, you just think there's got to be something wrong here, because you cannot be good at all of that and doing it in a takeaway, cheap fashion. This is crazy. I don't trust it. That's what people think when they meet a jack of all trades. They just think you cannot be doing this all right. There's something going on here. So avoid doing that and just get real clarity on who it is that if you know who it is that you're supporting, you'll know right now what their pain points are. Just be really, really clear on what people are feeling, what help they need in the area that you are really great at. So please, don't do that. Just stick with what you know.
Right.
Yeah,
you need a cigar or something and do a Groucho Marx impression there, Rosie.
I think Rosie's got a new business here. She's opening up a novelty jokes.
One of my members gave me these. That's why they're on my desk. They're from one of my members.
I love it. Another question.
I can't get them waxed either.
No more waxing. We're all going to come out looking like that at the end of AC, right?
Yeah. It'll be like, they look really small now. Put it back on.
Another question, tips for where to look for savings in my own business operations. So some of the things that you can save on in your own business.
I think go and check out what's the software that you've subscribed to that you may not be using anymore. Can you scale back to the free version? What else? I don't know. Anyone else have any ideas?
I would say go back and look through all your bookkeeping, find out what you're paying for that you're not using at all. And, cut back on all those things. How many subscriptions do we all have to different things? Canva, Adobe, and Microsoft, and so many other things. And some of those things we definitely need because we're using them every day in the line of our businesses. There'll be other things where we're only using it now and then. They would be the things I'd be cutting back on.
Yeah. The other thing is to look at your insurances, because that can be a big ticket item. And when you contact your insurance, you can ask them to put it on hold and reincorporate it once you get back to operating again in your business. So, and there are other savings that they will have ideas on how you can save.
In saying that, Liz, I had a webinar a couple of weeks ago about superannuation and self-employed doing superannuation. And the guy who was speaking, Peter Stanhope, he's from Gig Super, he was mentioning how a lot of super programs actually have insurances inbuilt to them.
Yep.
But sometimes we're doubling up on our insurances and we don't realise. So if you've got superannuation, find out what insurances are there and go and see if you've doubled up elsewhere.
All your insurance policies, because it can often be added in if you've got an all-inclusive policy for home, for instance. So really dig into the detail and get better advice.
We have an insurance provider, an operator guy who works with us. He sits down with, we look at, the ages of the kids, the risks of the family, what would happen if one of us couldn't work, what would happen if one of us passed away, what sort of insurances our business needs, and all that sort of thing. And then he assesses what we've got within our super and then buffers it up with whatever's missing, and it saves us so much money. But another thing too is have a look at your books, your bank statements to see. I know sometimes, I don't do this at the moment, but I've gone through phases where I haven't realised how much I've spent on stuff like, stock images or fonts or those little little things that you're like, oh, it's so pretty. Yeah. And so you might need to just put a post-it note saying, stop, woman, stop right now.
We had at the summit, the Rounded guy come and talk about his software, and he said that a lot of software companies will actually be open to you asking for a discount or a reduction over this period. So if you're paying for something that you don't want to let go of, maybe have a conversation with them, because honestly, they'll be losing clients left, right and centre.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say exactly the same thing. I've had clients that have been in touch with like Infusionsoft and stuff like that, and they're starting to come to the party because they don't want to lose clients that have been around for so long, been paying hundreds of dollars for software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing not to forget about is that your clients invariably will let offshore VAs go because of the poor exchange rate, and that's just getting worse. So if your clients have got people in the States and offshore, and the other issue with offshore is what's happening, you know, with martial law and in these countries as well. So just by, yes, reaching out to your clients, they're trying to save money as well. Talk to them about how you can share the expense, or come up with some innovative ideas on how you can both save. I think that's a good plan as well.
Good idea.
Can I just make a public announcement to Chloe's children that this is a very, very important call? Sometimes we've got to have fun when we're doing important things.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, next question. Best courses for VAs to take to upskill? You guys?
Depends on what they want to learn, you know. There are so many different courses out there. I think I saw someone mention Udemy on there, and there's a lot of those different things online. There's, you know, Freelance University as well, that's got a wide range of software courses, all sorts of available. And then, you know, each of us here provide VA training courses of some sort. So it really depends on what it is in particular that they're wanting for us to be able to direct them in the right direction.
Look,
absolutely. And I think you need to do a needs, survey yourself and look at your needs, look at what you've got, look at what you need to, any gaps that you can fill, and then look at it. The other opportunity here is to upskill for a different market. At the moment, the market that mainly hires VAs are small business owners or other small business owners, right? So up to maybe 10 of a staff. But you've got to remember now the climate's changed because everyone's working from home, and those big corporates are going to see the advantage, and there are jobs going. You know, there's still people going on maternity leave, and even though they're laying off staff, it means that the skeleton staff are overworked, and a VA is a perfect opportunity for those bigger organizations to do that backfill. So don't just stick with small businesses. Think outside the box. Go to those different markets and do an outreach. Okay, we can, I'm sure the network, we can all put together some template letters that you can send out to these bigger businesses and get a foot in the door.
Definitely.
If that's who you resonate with.
Absolutely. If that's, you know, because you don't want to cut opportunities off, but you don't want to go down a path if you're unhappy. I mean, we're all VAs because we want to be happy, right? But there, you know, when there is a recession, people go for security, and that's okay to do that. All the jobs advertised at the moment are all work from home jobs. You might decide to pick up a part-time job for that regular salary. It's okay to do that. And you've got the experience of working from home and being accountable to employers. So it gives you the leg up, really it does. And don't exclude it because you're frightened or because it doesn't sound too good. Just explore it. You can't do any harm whatsoever.
Also, have a look and see what your local councils are doing and promoting as well. I'm in the Shire of Yarra Ranges here in Victoria, and they run regular business development courses of all sorts of types of things, and workshops and other events. So, you know, as well as picking up and learning something new, you're meeting a whole lot of new people, some of whom could be potential clients. So it's always good to have a look and see what your local councils are doing as well, because there may be something that you can participate in, or even, you know, do a bit of training with.
One good place to start with your PD needs, and just reflecting on that, is that look at the skills that you need to enhance your business. So you might be weak on online marketing, you might be weak in SEO, you might be weak in Google AdWords. Start with those courses if you're going to invest in it, because you'll have the long-term benefit. But when you do the course, you may find that you can expand your services to include that, because when it comes to recovery, there's going to be a hell of a lot spent on marketing. There's going to be Google AdWords coming out the yahoos. You really need to be prepared for that. And I think hopefully these networks working together, we can come up with some great ideas for you guys to prepare for that, because the VA industry is going to explode. There's going to be a delay as we get over the pain and the crisis, but after that, it's going to absolutely explode. And if you're prepared for that, you'll be able to run with it right away.
Yeah, I completely agree. And try to embrace things that, you know, yes, look at the opportunities, definitely look at the opportunities and think about them in ways that excite you, or perhaps, you know, are ways that you couldn't have worked in those areas before because you don't have those skills. So think about those things that you've got, you know, I wouldn't mind learning how to do blah, blah, blah. Now's a great time to do it. And don't just cut corners and do little bits and pieces of everything everywhere, because you will get overload. I know a lot of people, when they start their businesses, for example, they try to do every one of my challenges and probably Ingrid's and Kathie's and Liz's and Susan's challenges and courses, and they end up being overwhelmed because it's too much information. So have a think about what would excite you, and what would, you know, look for opportunities to make this a time that you look back on and go, yeah, this is how I grew during that time. And it might be, you know, yes, definitely look at ones that help your business grow, but also look at ones that just help yourself grow. Mindset stuff, you know, even just things around the house if you want to learn it. So not everything has to be about your business, but definitely what I love and what I work with my coach on is having percentages of things. If you're going to work on learning something in your business, make sure that on the flip side, you're working on something that is for you and you alone, that is not obligation to anybody, because, you know, you are very important. You are very, very important.
I think Rachel made a good point there about taking time to grieve about what you've lost and the change that's happening and the potential for moving forward, and to take time to be you, and then lift yourself up and take some action.
I couldn't agree more. Like, my perspective on it all is that every day. So for me personally, when it comes to, sorry, this is my happy hat. I have to be happy at different times, and this is a moment where I have to be happy.
It really works.
Next webinar is going to be a challenge. Who can come with the funniest,
This is Thelma, and this is actually here for my granddaughter, but just so you know. So when she's here, she'll have it. No, but the reality is we've come through. So what actually is exacerbating this situation, I think, our mood, is the fact that we've come through drought. We've come through bushfires, right? And for some of us, our communities were impacted very, very badly. We had floods.
Floods, yep.
And then the next thing you know, we got this. And it's like, yep, holy moly, what else? And so, you know, it really is an important thing for us to take care of ourselves, and to hunker down and to focus on great things and do stuff like this. You know, have fun, but remember to respect that other people are going through stuff as well. And so you need to be, what's the word? Careful, I guess, around other people, and respect the way that the world is changing and the impacts that it has on them. And what you've got in your hands the tools to see you through in the long term. So you know what to do, just as everybody said here. You know what to do. You've got an amazing opportunity, and I do believe that we're going to see an incredible amount of growth And you guys are standing yourselves in very good stead to meet the demands that are going to come our way. And being proactive, it's not going to just land in our laps. We still have to get out there and pitch and tell people what we do and educate. One of the biggest roles that we've got in the industry today is educating people. And so, you know, doing all that stuff, but being positive and giving, generously giving of ourselves is going to come back. You know, that universal law, it'll come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. So next question, which industries, which we touched on this briefly, which industries do you think will require more new VAs versus which will drop them?
Do we have time to go through all of that?
I just think let's just touch on a few industries maybe.
Yeah. Well, look, obviously the essential things that people need to survive, like groceries and food, and what tends to happen in a recession as well is that startups do really well because they get in and they can charge less, and there's more room for them as well. So if anyone's thinking or starting up a business, that would be a good approach for you to help other startups. The other thing is that online gambling and adult sites do very well. People drink alcohol, they self-medicate. The home cooking sites do well because people start to do more home cooking. There's no takeaways and that sort of thing. There's secondhand stores do well because people will buy secondhand until they're over the reception. There's also things like repair and maintenance services. So people, we live in a throwaway society, so rather than fixing the whippersnipper, they'll are throwing it away and buying a new one, they'll get it fixed to see them through. There's health and senior services as well. There's IT toys and games and entertainment. So really, to get to the bottom of these industries, you just have to think about what you really need at the moment and what you're prepared to spend money on, and then go out and reach out to those industries and offer your services.
Can I suggest something as well? Completely agree with that. Thanks, Liz. Think about the businesses who are discovering right now that part of their business can be run online, and that there would be no reason for them to not continue doing elements of that online. So there's going to be a lot of people who previously only did face-to-face meetings for various services, like your allied health, who are going to now be tapping into more online options. And, you know, we'll be looking at supporting people to book those sessions more and to promote and to get those marketing and social media and all that sort of stuff out there. So think about the people who's pivoting, so we love that word at the moment, pivot, will kind of remain to a degree.
And you're right, Rosie, like Medicare's actually also changed around the telehealth information as well, and that's only come out over the last few days. So a lot of allied health are able to do more telehealth that is actually bulk billed as well, so which that was never the case previously. So that's a good industry to tap into and to keep going with as well.
The other thing to keep in mind is keep an eye on the government funding sectors, because they'll be looking for help. So there'll be huge demands and they'll need help. And so keep an eye on what money's being allocated. Look for grants, look who's getting that money. Services such as mental health services, obviously there'll be a fallout, there'll be a reaction to this stress, especially since it's been one crisis following the other. There are VAs who were caught in the fires and now have no money. They've been caught in floods and they're in temporary accommodation, and they're really struggling for that as well. So that expands right through the population.
There's also too the grants. A lot of people don't know how to access these subsidies and apply for these grants that are coming out. So tapping into that as well could be another resource, because they just don't understand it. So if you understand it, you're already ahead of the game right there. Okay, right. Last question. How do I prove my worth to my current clients so they don't drop me, basically? So how do you add value? How do you prove your worth?
Can I just say communication is going to be vital right now. You can only communicate your worth by stepping up right now, contacting them and having conversations about where they're at, where they want to go, and what can be done in the meantime. Because if you just wait for them to send you work right now, they're not going to. You can be at the bottom of the barrel. Step up. This is the time. I mean, you should be doing this stuff already, but if you haven't been, step up, talk to your clients about where they're at now, where they want to go, how they're feeling, what the gaps are, and strategies moving forward in a way that is comfortable for them and, you know, doesn't make them freak out about the unknown. And so they know that you're in it together, because those people who do that, they are invaluable.
Yeah. And so true. Like, I think the brainstorming, taking time to really figure out what's their biggest problem and biggest concern, and they might not tell you if you don't ask. So if you don't ask, you're not going to receive. So get into their head and then offer solutions, be proactive, prove your worth, because that is the way to prove your worth, and you know your worth. But if you're silent, you know, well, silence is not going to help anyone.
Absolutely, it's so important. And you know, taking notice of what's happening out there, and then going back to your clients. If you see someone in the same industry doing something, you know, tell your client, contact them and say, oh, have you seen this? Did you know about this? Should we be, you know, following through? I work with not-for-profit organisations, so I watch a lot of what's happening with different organisations, and then I will go back to the presidents that I'm working with and say, hey, have you thought about this? Or look, I met so-and-so last week and they're doing this, and I think that would work, you know, really work well with this organisation. So it is about being proactive all the time, but that's something we should be doing all the time, not just now that there's a crisis. It's something that we should have been doing all along anyway.
Yeah,
go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's what actually sets you above the rest. That's the reason that proactive approach is what sets the VAs who really make it, it's what sets them above the rest. Hannah just made a note here. I've spent all week phoning my clients just to check in and make sure they're okay. And it's helped me maintain a lot of them and work out ways we can help them get through this whole thing. Well done, Hannah. You are ahead of the rest right now. That's amazing. And I'm so glad that you've been able to keep a lot of your clients as well. So that's amazing. Okay, guys, I think that's about a wrap. Does anybody have any last comments before we go? And I dare say we will probably hold another webinar like this over the coming weeks. We'll go away, recruit, see what other questions that we get back, and we'll probably host another one as well. But last comments from everybody. Go.
Thank you so much, Susan. We made it.
We can do this, you guys. After Corona, we'll see you. AC, bring it on. But, you know, my last final comment, and the one thing that I can say is this will pass. This is here to, you know, it's here, it's happening, but it will pass. We just need to get there. So we just need to make a plan, you know, recoup, and this will pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a friend that I knew some years ago, and she used to say, it's only temporary. Whatever we're going through, whether it's good, bad, in between, it's only temporary.
Yeah, reach out. Debbie, when you're feeling crappy, reach out.
Yes.
Honestly, it will save you. We've all had days, multiple days. Like today, I'm so glad this was on today because I don't have sob face. You know, because it's so overwhelming at times, and we can do stuff, but we can't necessarily be a warrior all day, every day. We're going to fall every other day and go, I don't know, and then you see the news report with the update at 9 o'clock or whenever they jump on, and you go, why? This is too hard. And that's normal. And so reach out, write that literally, why? And just get it out of your system, because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have that song stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
I'm always singing it. We're all in this together.
You're good, Kathie. I wasn't going to get my
right there.
I know. I wasn't going to get my singing voice out on a webinar.
Now that we started.
Just before we finish, did anybody see that couch choir?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Isn't
We
that
need to do
fantastic?
one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
thought it was absolutely awesome.
Yes.
when I saw
The
it.
best thing about it is it doesn't matter if you can't sing because there's so many people it all just like works.
Yeah,
We should do
that's
it.
right. That was-
I'm happy to
that's
do
awesome.
this. I am so happy to do this.
Yeah,
Well, we can do it.
We just
All right,
need
we'll
to
do it.
find a key song to
Well,
use
you
that.
picked it already.
Oh, okay, we're all in this together. Yeah.
I've got a suggestion. So either Ride My Pony or We're All in This Together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Monkey. That's my favourite song at the moment.
Dance monkey, yeah.
Joe just said,
Never the race.
Joe just said, I will survive. Oh, what about we will rock this?
So many. Oh, I can't touch this.
Yeah,
We
I
will
love it.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the YouTube clip for that with the cool kids? It's awesome.
We should start a poll somewhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, leave it with me.
All right, you guys. Well, thanks so much for everyone. We've got some resources coming your way as well. As soon as we've put them all together, we're all working really hard behind the scenes. But if you do have any questions, don't be scared to reach out. I'm going to add a copy of this to the AAVIP Facebook page, so you'll be able to touch it, grab it there, and I'll also email out a link to everybody as well.
Great. Thank you,
Perfect.
Susan.
Well done,
Thanks,
Susan. Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
See you all.